Was it strange to send Rudy Giuliani to Ukraine, your personal lawyer? Are you sorry you did that?
Not at all. Rudy was a great crime fighter. You know that maybe better than anybody.
Yeah.
So, Daniel, that's a blatant contradiction from what he has said before.
That is literally the exact opposite of what he told Bill O'Reilly in an interview in November. Your team has queued up the clip. Listen to what he said in November.
Giuliani's your personal lawyer. So you didn't direct him to go to Ukraine and do anything or put any heat on him?
No, I didn't direct him.
So what has changed now? Well, perhaps Trump just thinks impeachment's over with. I've been acquitted. I can say whatever I want. Perhaps he forgot that he ever denied this. Regardless, though, what he's saying now is the truth. He did direct Rudy to go there. We heard that not only from Rudy himself, but from testimony from others in the impeachment inquiry.
We continue to follow tonight the story of 4 U.S. prosecutors who, in a highly unusual move, withdrew from the government's case against longtime Donald Trump advisor Roger Stone, his friend of upwards of 4 decades. One of those prosecutors has quit his post at the Justice Department entirely. This comes after the prosecutors yesterday recommended a 7 to 9 year federal prison guideline sentence for Roger Stone based on the Justice Department guidelines for the felony charges Mr. Stone has been convicted of.
The president furious, calling the recommendation horrible and tweeting, "Cannot allow this miscarriage of justice." Within hours, the attorney general officially overruled his own prosecutors.
I thought the whole prosecution was ridiculous.
I am responsible for everything that happens in the department, and I'm not going to be bullied or influenced by anybody. I cannot do my job here at the department with a constant background commentary that undercuts me.
The Attorney General has stooped to such levels. He's lied to Congress, for which he will be in contempt. He has engaged in these activities. What a sad disappointment to our country.
CBS News projects the Vermont senator won the first in the nation primary.
We are going to unite together and defeat the most dangerous president in the modern history of this country.
Coming in a close second, former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg. Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar took third. Senator Elizabeth Warren, who came in fourth.
Fourth? I'm Barry Gordon.
And I'm Andre Coleman.
And this is NewsRap, live at 5. Well, that story was so upsetting, it didn't even finish. It just kind of froze.
I thought that was
it ended.
I thought you threw something at the monitor or something. You were fourth. Well, here we are now.
Didn't mention Biden was 5th.
Yeah, it did not.
No.
Which, you know, I'm happy about Biden coming in 5th. I actually am.
You are? Okay.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you why. I don't like, and I've said it a dozen times, and this will be 13, I don't like the way that my brothers in the media and my sisters in the media pushed Biden as the savior before he got into this race.
Didn't they ever? And we lost Kamala Harris because of that. We lost Cory Booker because of that.
So,
but of course now we have now the black vote
the fear vote
is looking at Biden and Bloomberg as number 1 and 2. What is that about? Bloomberg, Mr. Stop and Frisk?
It's a fear vote.
Come on.
It's a fear vote. Because
yeah, it's fair.
Here's where we are. Trump is pretty much the consideration is, the thought is this is as bad as we can get.
Right.
And it's obviously he's a racist. It's obviously the issues are obvious. So they're going, the black vote now will jump to whoever they think can defeat and remove Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And that vote will forgive, forget, and excuse things from the past if they think that the ends, they can get what they want in the end.
Okay, now, let's go back to first causes. Let's be Aristotelian here, and let's go back to first causes, okay? Why do voters think, black or white, why do they think that a Biden, a Buttigieg, a Klobuchar, Bloomberg can beat Donald Trump and a Warren or a Sanders can't?
First off, the Warren and the Sanders part, I think the Warren part, I think that I know just from people I speak to, if it's an unofficial poll and I'm not polling them when we talk, my friends, then I would tell you that a lot of African Americans still have issues with Bernie Sanders from the 2016 election cycle. And even though Bernie goes, I would have beat Trump, I would have beat Trump, I would have beat Trump, I don't think African Americans ever bought into that, because I certainly don't think that if Bernie had beat Hillary for the nomination, I think we'd be exactly where we are right now. And I definitely don't think he would have beat Trump by 2 million votes. So I'll leave that on the table. We can discuss that whenever you want.
Got another theory.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
As far as Buttigieg, Biden, and everybody else who have pushed themselves as the third term of Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I think that's why they think that person, that they can beat Trump, because
I don't hear Buttigieg pushing
Oh.
himself as the third term of Barack Obama.
He didn't.
He's saying
He's
there's
not
a
now.
different. We don't want the status
Nope.
quo, and we don't want a revolution. We want
He's not-
something new.
He's not now, but when Buttigieg
Yeah.
first came out,
Yeah.
what were people saying? He reminds me of Barack Obama.
Yeah. Right.
And so the implication was, hey, you're getting this all over again, but now in a different, maybe what they consider an acceptable or more acceptable package.
Okay.
So it's pleasant. It's more pleasant to deal with.
Okay. But this all comes down to my main point, my main thesis.
He's got a thesis.
The media creates candidates.
Oh, easily.
That's what's going on.
That's what I said about Biden.
And anybody that thinks that MSNBC is the liberal alternative to Fox News, it is certainly left of center, but it ain't left, folks. I'm sorry. It is not a channel that has embraced the left side of the Democratic Party. They have embraced the center of the Democratic Party. If you listen from anyone, from Joe, and, I watch it,
That's your channel of choice.
religiously.
Right,
I
that's
watch it all the time. What do I mostly see? I mostly see former Republican strategists, never Trumpers, telling the world how we have to have a moderate to beat Donald Trump to get disaffected Republicans to vote for a Democrat.
Well, let me ask you this. But did that same station, did they hype up AOC and the quote-unquote squad, which is still the worst name ever? Did they
hype it in what way? Negatively?
No. Did they hype it positively?
No. They did not.
Was it negative?
There was certainly negative coverage of Rashida Tlaib.
Well,
there was certainly, yes, there definitely has been negative coverage. You have to understand that Fox made a decision in 2016. The decision that they made was that Donald Trump was going to be the nominee. They did everything they could to put forward Donald Trump as the nominee. What is happening here right now is something very, very different, where the media, and particularly MSNBC, kept pushing Biden. They kept pushing Klobuchar. If you go back, you will see Klobuchar on everything, including Rachel Maddow, who's supposed to be so far to the left. She kept having Klobuchar on over and over and over again. Yeah, they had Warren on a little bit. Chris Hayes had Sanders on a lot. But basically, they are a left of center channel. And they have convinced themselves that the way to win is to get disaffected Republicans. And that is what, right now, I honestly believe, is influencing all of this.
Well, I'm gonna moonwalk you back a little bit.
All right.
When you said that Fox was determined to... What are you doing?
It's a moonwalk, but I'm not getting up. I'm doing a moonwalk.
Please don't do that again.
Thing. Okay.
Whatever you do.
All right, go ahead.
I'd rather see you dance again than do that.
Okay.
I don't know what the hell that was.
All right. I won't do that again. Okay.
When you say that Fox decided Donald Trump was going to be president, so did CNN.
Yeah.
The amount of time that Trump was on the air.
Yep.
The amount of time Trump was on the air. I don't know about NBC.
And he was on with Morning Joe quite a bit in the morning. Yeah, he was on.
He was on a staggering...
He wasn't on the later shows, but he was definitely on.
He was on a staggering
Yeah.
amount of time compared to the other candidates. But you're correct. And it goes back to my first point. The media, MSNBC and CNN, decided that Bernie Sanders was going to be the Democratic nominee. And when that failed and began to fall apart, at whatever point that was, I guess we could talk about pinpointing it.
Bernie Sanders?
I'm sorry, Joe Biden.
Oh, whoa.
Is what I meant.
Whew, I got confused.
When that fell apart, at whatever point, it then became, they began to look around. And where they didn't go is Booker, Harris. They didn't go to any.
Well, they were already out by then.
Well, they stopped at Harris for a second.
Yeah, but they were already out by then.
But what I mean is,
oh, you're saying when they were all in?
When they were all in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It became which white person is going to be the nominee.
Yeah.
Is what's happening, and we're still doing that.
But the reason that it became which, see, there's a little.
We're saying the same thing.
There's a little self-fulfilling prophecy.
We're saying the same thing.
Because the reason they said which white person is going to be the nominee is that black voters didn't give Kamala Harris the time of day or Cory Booker.
They did not.
That's right.
But nor did they have the chance to.
Because of, and we discussed this before, fear.
Yeah. Well, and not only
but it's media that's telling them to be
and
fearful.
that's what I was about to say. The reason they didn't have the chance to is because the media decided this is not going to be the nominee.
Right.
Look, if you decide, being a media person, if you decide in 2020, like we did in 16,
right,
that the minute the election is over, the next election begins.
Right.
And you're going to cover it like it's campaign season for 4 years till we have another election.
Right.
Then you know what? You're going to endorse very early on, and you were going to prop up certain candidates early on.
Sure.
And the only way this becomes exciting for them is they cannot prop up the guy already in the White House, and nor should they.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. But the mystery and the surprise and the drama is going to be in the people trying to defeat him.
Right. The other thing that happened was a media narrative around 2018. Because the media narrative around 2018 was that we won all of those seats because we ran moderates.
What was the other part of it?
There could have been another media narrative.
What was the
we
other part
run all of those seats as a protest against President Donald Trump.
And who won them?
Democrats.
Which part of the party?
Well, supposedly the moderate part of the party.
No, what do those people look like?
Oh, yeah. There were a lot of people of color and women. That's right.
And which is now.
That's right.
Then we immediately turned around and got rid of all of those people who were running who looked like that.
Yep, that's right.
Which is it still boggles my mind.
Yeah.
It still boggles my mind. I mean, look, the party has a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And a couple of things we got to figure out here right off the bat. In my estimation, we have way too many debates in the campaign season. We are allowing it to go way too long. And I'm talking about the contests. We have done Iowa and we have done New Hampshire, and neither one of those results mean anything to me.
No, I agree. But they did mean something for a moment because, and again, it's media. Again, you had Elizabeth Warren, who was predicted to get about 18% of the vote. At one point, she was predicted to get 15.
In New Hampshire?
Yeah, no, in Iowa.
In Iowa, okay.
Predicted to get 18%. At one point, yes, she was higher. She was first, second. But Buttigieg started to make his charge. And Buttigieg was putting everything into Iowa. Elizabeth was stuck, along with Sanders, dealing with the impeachment. Right. So he moves into second place, right? Elizabeth stays at third. Sanders was always at first. So Elizabeth stays at third, overperforms.
Okay.
Right? Overperforms. Klobuchar was predicted to come in around 5th, 6th place, maybe 4%, right? Okay. So, yeah, she doubles that. She comes in at around 8%.
And what happens?
She comes in 5th.
And what happens?
In Iowa. She goes on the air first and said something absolutely brilliant. She comes on and says, well, we're punching above our weight. Brilliant. She didn't say she won. She just said she's in with the big cats now. And the media grabbed that.
Because what does that sound like?
On Iowa. Sounds like she's winning. But she's not winning. Elizabeth comes out, unfortunately, is completely honest, and says, well, it's a really tough race, and it's close, and we don't know. But she comes out third, like she was predicted to do, overperforming. She comes out with 20% of the popular vote. That's a pretty damn good position
is.
to move in
But
New Hampshire.
look.
So what happens? Amy Klobuchar says two clever things on a debate that weren't all that great because she's always been a good debater. And all of a sudden, the media, it's Klobuchar, it's Klobuchar, it's Klobuchar, it's Klobuchar, like a ringing bell. And that's where we are now.
Since Richard Nixon, who everybody on the radio, who listened to the debate on the radio, said he won. Everybody who watched TV said Kennedy won.
Kennedy won.
Since TV took over the debates and helped Kennedy, and we won't even get into the mob part of it, and Sinatra and his boys and all that stuff, which has been rumored for years.
Chicago.
We have got to stop picking presidents because they're attack dogs or they say something clever on a debate stage.
I agree.
Because this is what happens. Harris says something clever about busing, and they don't want to see a food fight. They want to see us put food on the table. She becomes number one.
Yeah.
For a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then we go to the next debate, and everybody attacks Harris because now we got to climb on her, and we got to find a way to climb over. And then Biden takes the lead again, and everybody's got to jump there. But we accomplished nothing with 25 debates.
Right.
And 25 candidates.
Well, we got a comment.
Okay.
From none other than Danielle Ross.
Danielle L. Ross.
L. Ross.
I'm kind of curious about what the L stands for.
So black people are not waiting for white to validate someone before we decide. Okay.
It seems like that right now, though.
It does.
Because who have we decided on?
That's right. Did we have a reason to give Kamala Harris the time of day? No.
She says no. I don't agree.
I might agree. So tell us why, Danielle. We could keep a conversation going here.
I mean, I don't necessarily agree.
Are you talking about the prosecutor stuff? Because if you're talking about the prosecutor stuff, then Amy's next to fall.
Well, if we talk about the prosecutor stuff, why was everybody waiting for Mueller? I mean, the FBI did more with COINTELPRO Pro.
Well, because he was prosecuting the right guy.
Exactly. So now we just come back to who's prosecuting who.
Right.
Well,
but no, I think that I don't know where this is all going. I can't remember an election like this.
But we couldn't remember
where it's so. I mean, yes, there have been close elections. There have been elections that seemed closer than they were. Sanders Clinton in 2016 seemed closer than it really was. It really wasn't.
It wasn't close at all.
And then Clinton Obama, that was close.
That was close, but that was history no matter which way you went.
And that was history no matter which way you went. So now what?
Now
I don't know what is going on now. And now I cannot believe that black voters are willing to look at Michael Stop and Frisk Bloomberg. I cannot believe that.
Here's where we are. None of this matters until we get into diverse parts of the country.
Well, but we're getting there. We're going to be there in 15 days.
Then it'll start to matter. But somebody winning Iowa, and somebody winning. First off, I don't know what the hell happened in Iowa.
Right.
And that was a bigger story than Buttigieg winning Iowa by a couple of percentage points.
Well, he didn't win Iowa. He won those state delegate equivalents. It's kind of like winning the Electoral College and losing the popular vote.
And here we are again with that.
So really, Sanders won Iowa in terms of the popular vote.
And here we are again with that. I mean, look, I didn't even run, and I almost won Iowa. That's how much Iowa matters.
Okay.
New Hampshire, of course, if you live in Vermont, you should win New Hampshire. I mean,
but the argument is if you live in Massachusetts, you should also win New Hampshire,
obviously.
And that hurt her.
A question now becomes, why was the margin even as close as it was?
Right. And again, Elizabeth, 2 times in a row, came in ahead of Biden.
So now we're not calling her Warren anymore. We're just calling her Elizabeth now.
So we can knock off.
It's a first name basis.
I'm getting a Liz. But
God.
we can knock off. I mean, Biden has lost twice now to Warren.
Yeah, and
places you could say it that way too.
Of course, because like I told you before, you can always find a way to say it that's going to favor you.
Yeah, you can.
But wait till we get to places that count. Wait till we get to places where there are brown people, black people.
I agree.
And minorities. I mean, that's what makes up. That's a big part of the Democratic Party.
Right.
Is what we were told in 2018. So let's get there and then see who does what. I'm not saying that Biden's going to make some kind of fantastic comeback because I don't believe he is.
Yeah.
But do I think he's just going to go away? Boom. No, I don't.
Probably not. I don't think anyone is.
I think there's a bigger...
They have the money and they've got, and I know 4 of them at least have the donor base to keep going.
I think Buttigieg runs a bigger risk of running into trouble before Biden.
What about Amy?
Fool's gold.
You think?
It's the latest shiny thing.
Well, I was talking to someone who really likes her new haircut.
Well, then there's a reason to vote for her right there. I mean, it's
all right.
You just can't look at me.
This media spin and puppets to determine support.
So how do you determine support?
Yeah. So I think we have to go to local.
I think Jared's on there with a
Jared
with a comment.
Jared.
Sanders is the most.
Put it up there.
Sanders is the most popular politician, best positioned to beat Trump. That is also the favorite to win with the most diverse, most innovative coalition because of his policies. A rare opportunity where the pragmatic choice is also the best choice. I don't necessarily agree with that.
Well, here's the question.
Put that back up. I need to respond to something.
We know how eager, because we're seeing this, we know how eager people of color who are a major part of the Democratic base are to beat Trump.
I agree with that.
That's a given. We know that there are white Democrats who are definitely saying we'll vote for a chair against Donald Trump, right? We know that there are people like Jared, maybe millions of people like Jared,
might be,
who are saying, if it's not Sanders, I'm staying home, or I'm voting for Jill Stein.
The idiots.
Or I'm doing something else. I'm not going to label.
I just did.
But I know, and you'll have to deal with Jared if you ever see him. But the point is,
he can come in here right now.
The point is that if that's true, because I asked that, I said, if Sanders is the nominee, are you going to vote for him? And everyone I talked to said, well, do I have a choice? Of course I'm going to vote for him. I said, are you going to stay home? No, we got to get rid of Trump. So if he is going to get the entire Democratic base by default and 3.5 million young people, then Jared is right. And he is the best positioned to beat Donald Trump.
It doesn't mean he has the best policies.
He didn't say that.
Actually, scroll up.
He said he's also the favorite to win, the most diverse.
Because
no, he doesn't have the most diverse coalition, but
he does not. That's not correct either.
No, he does not have the most diverse coalition.
I thought he mentioned
Actually,
policy.
Elizabeth has a very diverse coalition, but she's not
Can
getting
we scroll up
points
that comment?
in polls.
I thought there was a point about policy.
I don't know.
But I'll say this.
Yeah.
So 4 years ago, we did a burn or bust. There was a burn or bust movement.
I know. We have not gotten a local, and we're going to get killed, but it's okay. All right, go
We're going to get killed all the time, Barry.
All right,
so,
go ahead.
4 years ago, we had a burn or bust thing happen.
Yeah.
Who won the popular vote?
4 years ago.
Yeah. Clinton beat Trump.
Yeah. Oh, you mean, okay.
So my point is,
election, I got a little lost. Yes.
So my point is,
yes.
if all of those people stayed home and she still won the popular vote, burn or bust, it doesn't necessarily mean that those, and I'd like to have all of those votes, every single one of them, if it's 3 million.
Yeah.
But you know what? That doesn't mean necessarily that we have to have that coalition to beat them. I personally think that really any Democrat that ran over the past 20 years probably would have beat him. Even some of the people running now, the top four probably would have beat him 4 years ago.
You think John Kerry would have beaten him?
Yes. At this point, I do. At this point, I do. I think anybody who probably would have gotten up there and not gone into his game and talked common sense probably had a chance to beat him.
Yeah, but the problem is we didn't know who he was until he was.
We knew who he was very early on. We made the opposite mistake. Everybody thought it was funny to look at, and he never had a chance to win.
Yeah.
And then suddenly he was the nominee, and then suddenly he won. And everybody went, the system's not supposed to work this way.
Yeah.
Even going into election night, nobody thought he was going to win. We keep looking at her holding up that sign.
I know.
And she's holding it up like we're not looking at it. We looked at it like 5 times.
And Jared is responsible for us not doing the local.
Yeah, blame Jared.
Because we've been dealing with his comment. So,
looks like Danielle has another couple of comments, but I can't see them.
See. We got more.
Eric Bailey.
Love it. Oh, Eric, my gosh, we're going to have to stay on.
Okay, let's stay here.
And do some comments.
Eric Bailey. Kamala should have never been appointed to district attorney. She never represented the people of color. I don't know about. No,
I'm not getting into that.
I don't know about never. I mean,
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not getting into that.
Okay. Talk to black voters. That's
You know,
down there.
I personally don't want a prosecutor as president of the United States. I really don't. I want someone.
Wait, we have an order from on high to go to local. Says George Filardo. All right. Roll it in the local, Barry.
Roll into the. We don't have time, but we'll go for it.
Well, we'll just stay on until we finish the local. Go.
All right.
Chief John Perez is considering restarting the gun waiver program that was suspended in 2017. With a letter from a commander or a police chief, the waiver allowed officers to bypass the 10-day waiting period in which background checks are conducted when purchasing firearms. Former police chief Philip Sanchez suspended the policy after Vaskin Gordikian, a former Pasadena lieutenant, engaged in the business of dealing firearms without a license and had one of his firearm sales found at a crime scene. Perez is quoted in a Pasadena Now article as saying, "Sometime this year, I will have our policy redeveloped to ensure it meets the intention of the law by having safeguards in place to avoid past issues." Adam Schiff's H.R. 2546 bill package has passed the House. The Protecting America's Wilderness Act, composed of 6 bills, will add over 191,000 acres to the Santa Monica Mountains National Recreation Area. It will also extend the San Gabriel Mountains National Monument. Schiff is quoted in a Pasadena Now article as saying, "Preservation of the open space in our communities is not only good for our environment, wildlife, and ecosystems, but it is beneficial for the health and well-being of residents of all ages. We must do whatever we can to preserve that beauty for the benefit of LA residents, the millions each year who visit, and for generations to come." District 2 candidate Felicia Williams is now endorsed by the Pasadena Police Officers Association, or the PPOA. The Pasadena Foothill Association of Realtors and the Los Angeles League of Conservation Voters have also endorsed her. Williams garnered the support by having served on the PPOA board, her history of supporting small businesses, and copious environmental policy work. She is running against Bo Patatian, Tricia Keene, and Kevin Litwin. Current District 2 Councilmember Margaret McAustin announced she will not be running for the seat again. Reminder dates for the presidential primary election in California are: first date to vote by mail, February 3rd, 2020. Last date to register to vote, February 18th, 2020. Last date to request a vote by mail ballot by mail, February 25th, 2020. Election Day is March 3rd, 2020, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Guess what? I think we're going to Facebook.
Let's go.
I'm Barry Gordon.
I'm Andre Coleman.
It's NewsRap live at 5.
Hey, don't forget to get your that you can vote by mail on February 3rd.
You can indeed, and you can walk in on February 29th. Yeah. So do that too.
February 3rd.
On a weekend. Yeah.